Welcome once again to Willow Talk. Hope you had a great weekend. Early doors of cricket season. We haven't done one of these in a while. Adam Peacock alongside Brad Haddin. Hads. I love these.
This is when I know you and Sam get bored. And when my WhatsApp goes quiet for 3 days, I think, okay, they're about to take the piss out of me.
No, not really. It's ask Hads. It's not tell Hads what he should say. It's not spread rumours about Hads. It's called Ask Hads. So our wonderful listeners have sent in a raft of questions. We've whittled down the best ones. But Hads, I'll start.
Wait.
You know. Okay, go. What? No, I'm not going to ask the first question.
Aaron?
No.
Is your mate Lee?
No.
Jason?
No. Nothing. None. I'll give you the opportunity at some point in this. You can take it at the top to ask me anything if you want. Okay?
Oh, my gosh.
Anything you want. But we're going to talk about cricket mainly. Okay? And we're going to start. Hads, with the first question. I'll give you that. You can. It's like the little get out of free jail card Monopoly. You can ask me one at some point.
You're an open book, though. It won't be as fun.
Yeah, no one cares what I say. Everyone cares what you say, Bradley, especially when it comes to cricket. Hamish, first up. And Hamish, thank you for this question sent in to us. And by the way, week to week, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want, slide into our DMs and send us your questions and queries and wonderful feats of endurance or calamity from your cricketing experience. However, Hamish asked first up, pretty simple question, but it's a good one. Hads, New South Wales legend, in the Hall of Fame now. What's your all-time New South Wales 11?
All-time that I played with?
Yeah, I think that's a fair parameter. Yeah, you can put like Don Bradman and Victor Trumper in there.
Yeah. I didn't quite play in that era. Just missed it. My openers. Some goodies. Slater.
Yep.
Kadich.
Mm-hmm.
3, Stephen Wool. Mark at 4.
Decent players.
Yep. I'll make a name for themselves when they get older. Clark at 5. Michael.
Yeah.
6, Bevo. Bevo was one of the best first-class players I've ever played with.
Mm-hmm.
Lyon and McGill, spinners.
Because you're playing at the SCGA.
Doesn't matter. I
on
don't
a
care.
Bunsen.
You can play on glass with those two. Wouldn't matter. Quick bowlers. Lee, McGrath, Pickham Sells, Stuart Clark. He was my diamond in the rough when I captained. And keeper, in my era, it was me. Who do you pick then?
Peter Neville
Peter
Neville just headbutted his steering wheel.
Peter Neville played a couple of times as a bat, so I'd put Peter Neville as keeper. And 12th man.
12th man, here we go. This is the important one, isn't it? For obvious reasons.
Lay down Mazaire.
Yeah.
I would not even justify it. It's him, then there's a long space. Shane Lee.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Doug Pollinger then.
Oh, no.
For vibes. But no. Shane Lee. Okay. I don't care about the 11. I want to know why Shane Lee's the 12th.
Mate, he could organise the best party on tour.
Yeah.
Cricket sometimes got in the way of what was about to happen after the game.
Any memories you want to share with us?
Nope. Can't remember him.
Come on.
Mate, City Rowers, Shane, he'd have a handful of drink cards. If bowler's day, batting day, he was definitely organising.
With the Shield tours, the Shield matches that you played away from home,
yep.
Did you have a home away from home in every state?
Yep.
So every Brisbane City Rowers, Melbourne, like a South Melbourne pub or something like that?
The Tunnel? I don't know what it was. I don't know where Melbourne was. Casino you ended up the most of the time. South Australia, the Grand, WA, Leederville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Hobart?
Hobart, down at Salamanca somewhere.
Okay.
On the waterfront.
There you go. You got through it pretty quickly there.
Good 11.
Very good 11 and a great 12th man choice as well.
Man.
If you go back to our revisitation of the 1999 World Cup special that we did with Brendan Julian and Shane Lee, various times throughout that series, I think it was a 3-parter. Yes, it was, producer Sam. A 3-parter. Those two were in cahoots because they weren't playing much, and they always dragged it back to what they were going to do post. Themselves and Damien Martin had booked that south of France to Venezuela trip after the World Cup. They never got to Venezuela. I can't imagine that would have come back to Australia if they got to Venezuela. They might have actually stayed there, but yeah.
BJ would have been a good 12th man too, actually.
He's one of the great human beings, Brendan Julian, but he's not from New South Wales, and that was Brad Haddin's
He's now.
best ever 11 with the 12th. Hamish, thank you for that question. Raymond asks, what was the feeling like replacing Gilly? A good question for Raymond.
Yeah, it was. The feeling like, I tell you when the first person who congratulated me, and I hadn't got picked yet for playing for Australia, was Gilly, actually. Yeah. I heard Gilly tell a story the other day. He was in his last test against India. I think he dropped a catch off VVX Laxman and said, "I'm done. I've had enough. I'm going out of the game." And when he retired that day, I got a phone call, and he rung. He said, "Your life is about to change." So what do you mean? He said, "I'm about to retire. I'm just warning you." And I went, "Wow, thank you." And I was a bit in shock and congratulated him on a wonderful career and the standards that he changed for everyone. But Gilly rung me and said, "Mate, your life's about to change," which is a sign of a great man.
Was there any murmurs that he was going to do it?
No,
within cricket?
No, I never heard any. And the interesting thing, if Gilly decided probably to go on for another 24 months, I don't reckon I would have got my crack.
Really?
No, because I didn't debut for Australia till I was 30. And if he had went 2 more years, probably at that time, they would have said, "Oh, we might need to blood someone else, might need to go a younger keeper." And I could understand that. But yeah, the one thing I tried to do following Gilly is I had to put him out of my thought process because he changed the game for how wicketkeepers were seen. We all know that. His batting, how entertaining he was, and his counter-attacks. But I had to make sure and be real conscious to bring what I brought to the game. I couldn't bring what Adam brought. So I had to make sure I was doing the best I could, trusting that I was getting better every day. I know it sounds a cliche, but my holy grail might have just been playing for New South Wales, no matter how good you were, because you mightn't have got a crack because Gilly was there. So I had to be content to get better every day, to play as good as I can, keep challenging myself. And New South Wales might have been my limit, and I was content with that. When you retired and you got your crack and you played your 60 Aus Test match, that's great. But I had to put him out of my mind. If I didn't, I think I would have been rocking backwards and forwards in a corner.
Were you, because you debuted for Australia at the age that you did, 30, and all the experience and all the first-class cricket you played, did that alleviate, the old pack and Freddos on debut? Or you were still doing that in the week leading up to when you actually played?
Well, I was really lucky, actually, in my international career. I debuted in one-day cricket when I was 22, 21 or 22. Then I was lucky enough to do a lot of tours with Australia as a second keeper and watch the intensity that they trained at. And that was a lot different to what you trained at state cricket. And I think if I didn't get that opportunity to watch what they do, I would have trained at that level, and which is fine, and thinking I'm doing the right thing. It wasn't until you got around that level and seeing the intensity that they trained at, and you brought that back then to state cricket, you started to become more accountable around your performance, is the reason I was able to go and have the international career I did.
Now, a question from Aaron. Best life moments since professional cricket retirement? And you can't, that's aside from the obvious, which is doing an Ask Hads episode on Willow Talk.
Well, it's definitely working with you on Willow Talk.
Yeah, well done.
And planning our sessions. Definitely.
No, in all seriousness.
The best life moment since...
Knowing you would be kids related.
Yeah, it is.
It'd have to be.
I think, yeah.
Now you've got to choose which kid.
Yeah. Well, who's a favourite? I think, I tell you what it is just getting the opportunity to be present as a dad.
Yeah.
My last year at international cricket, I think I was away from my bed for 300 days. And I made a decision once I retired to be present because everyone's got to sacrifice in any top-level sport. There's another part that has to sacrifice a lot for you to do what you want to do. And I think my best is just being present now with my kids.
Yes. Great answer. Great answer, Bradley.
And the favourite's Hugo.
Today. It changes. You got teenagers, so it changes from day to day. I can understand that. Marcus has got a question. If you're giving the Australian men's cricket team a name, what would it be? Now, Bradley, given your sponsorship deal, you can't choose Kookaburra because that's the Australian men's hockey team. So, unlucky. You can't call them the Australian Kookaburras.
You know what?
Yeah?
I don't think the Australian cricket team needs a name.
Yeah.
I think the brand of that is big enough in itself. Like you've got as soon as I say Australian cricket team, I think about the first thing that comes into my head is the Baggy Green.
Mm.
So maybe you could have something around that.
But it doesn't need an animal
No,
or anything.
It doesn't need an animal.
Yeah,
Oh, no. What do you think?
no, I've got an interesting comparison.
Yep.
The Brazilian national football team, you know how much football is revered in Brazil. And for the Portuguese speakers out there, I'm very, very sorry. I'm a little bit tired today, so I might get the pronunciation wrong here, but it's Seleção, which means, it purely means the selection. It means you are
the chosen one.
The chosen ones,
yeah,
basically. So it's a little along those lines. It's given an almost ethereal context, and I think you're right. I don't
think it needs one.
We got there. I mean, the Australian women's cricket team for a while, they were labelled the Southern Stars, but that's gone. They're the Australian women's cricket team, and there's the Australian men's cricket team. So the Baggy Green stands apart.
That's the first thing that comes into my head.
The Baggy Green. Yeah. Exactly. Ollie asks, not sure if this is Ollie Davies, but no, it's not because it's the question. It might be another Ollie. If it's Ollie Davies, sorry, mate, I've dipped you in it. But no,
mate, if it's Ollie Davies, we'll come have a coffee with you tomorrow because we need to talk.
There's a few things. The question from Ollie is, how do you stop getting in your own head?
Mate, you're
That's
asking
a
the
big question.
Mate, you're asking. I tell you what, it's your preparation. Yep. It's as simple as that. It's making sure that you've done everything you possibly can to get yourself right for match day. What you want to do come match day is you want to do one thing. You want to compete with bat versus ball. You don't want to be thinking, if you're facing 150 Ks, you don't want to think, I bring my back lift up just a little bit? Do I step with my prelim movement? Does my head? You just want to be competing. So to get to that stage, you've got to make sure you've done everything in your preparation that's 100% spot on. So when you get into a game, you trust your technique. If you take shortcuts around training with the intensity and the little attention to detail of things, that's how you get head noise in the game. All of a sudden you think, I haven't quite done, am I ready for this? Next thing you know, you're not focusing on the ball that's coming down.
Did you have a checklist before a test match? Like say 2 days before?
Yeah, you did. You had it. It was a 3-day prep. For a test match, like you'd have an individual day, a team day where you go after each other, and it was highly competitive. Then you'd have the last day leading in was your day to get what you want. But I had a routine that I went through with my gloves, what I wanted to feel more so. So, and that might some days, and this might sound weird, it might be 40 minutes I need on that area. It actually might be 3. Depending on where I was in the game, how much I've cut. But it was all about the feel. I had the checklist with technique stuff, and if I had all that intact, I was right to go. But all your preparation is to get you in the middle so you don't have head noise. So all you want to do come the game day is compete. So Ollie, Adam and I will come and have a coffee with you on the golf course in Manly. But, mate, you don't have any head noise. You just keep hitting them for 6.
Yeah, you just hit them to the next suburb. Nick has got a question. How was receiving the Baggy Green and what emotions did you feel?
Relief.
Relief?
Yeah.
I finally got one.
Yeah. That was actually it.
Yeah.
And it was mine was a different Baggy Green presentation because it was in the West Indies, Kingston, Jamaica. But I knew I was playing. But when I got on the plane, I was the only keeper going. Gilly just retired. So it wasn't like I was in competition. I had to play well on the net. It was about I knew. So Ricky Ponting presented my Baggy Green, which mate, you'll never forget. Everyone holds Ricky in that high regard. He said some nice words. I remember Johnny Howard coming in for a beer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, at the end of the test match and shaking my hand and saying, congratulations on finally getting you.
Did he give you some advice on how to bowl a flipper?
Mate, I tell you what, he was
that
good
day
fun.
in Pakistan?
He was good fun, actually, Johnny. He came in the change room quite a lot. He was great fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A different side of him to what you saw in front of a camera trying to win an election?
Yeah, he was good. But yeah, so yeah, it was relief. As I said before, I never thought the day was going to come. Not because you weren't good enough, but just because if Gilly had to keep going and going, my age would have caught up to me.
Where's the Baggy Green now? What does it smell like?
It doesn't move.
Because it can't, because it's like
had that much Corona on it.
Alcohol content
Yeah,
in its fabric.
It's in the office.
Yep.
Yeah, but it doesn't move. Like the kids go, oh, Dad, that's disgusting. How could you wear that? And the older one now understands. He goes, oh, look at that.
He's going around.
I've only ever had one. Some have changed it. They got nicked or lost it. Played 100 tests. But I've only ever had one. I remember...
Recent example of a guy leaving it in his own bag in the team room.
And my New South Wales cap, the same. We spoke last week about memorabilia. That's the only two things I wanted at the end of my career. I wanted a baggy green and my baggy blue. My baggy blue, I remember, had to get fixed because at the peak, it all came off.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, just put some new fabric." No, I said, no, you won't.
Really?
You won't. I said, stick it down.
Yeah.
But do not put anything new onto it.
Is that why Steve Waugh's one looked like it was found at the bottom of a Vinnie's bin?
Yep.
He refused to get it fixed.
100%. Yeah, I got it like sort of stuck down. I said you could use the fabric that's there to fix it.
Yeah.
But don't alter it at all. So now the baggy can actually, I think it's got its own legs. It walks around the office by itself.
Fantastic. And I like how you differentiate between the baggy blue and the baggy green, even though they're one of the same. Everyone knows that in Australian
you get them
cricket,
together.
So, yeah, exactly. Now, Jason asks, best Mo Matthews story. Everyone in New South Wales cricket has a Greg Matthews story.
Yeah, mate. He's very iconic, Greg Matthews, in New South Wales for what he did for the game. But the one that I heard was you used to see Moe dancing around in the field, and the stories about having to play against him, mate. He was New South Wales through and through. He's relentless on oppositions, and there was times in Shield games and that he'd be dancing around in the field, putting people off, and it wasn't until I finished that I understood why. What he was doing, he'd already spoke to the groundsman and where the next wicket was for the next Shield game.
Yeah.
And where he was dancing, he was killing the spot on the length. So
everyone thought he was this, off on another planet, past Pluto, doing his own thing.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew exactly what he was killing the grass on that length so he could terrorise WA, South Australia. So very, very clever.
That's not eccentric. That's genius.
Mate, it was.
Lee from York asks, thoughts on playing at Headingley and how you got on there? So this is obviously a question from a local over there.
Yeah.
One of the great grounds in world cricket. Well, it looks like it because I want to hope to get there. You suggested for a trip, put it on the bucket list?
I think Willow Talk's going over the next time there's an Ashes, so we'll be able to do a show out of there.
Yep.
I tell you one memory I have from Headingley. It's not actually a great memory, actually.
Mm-hmm.
No, we won the test. But the test before at Birmingham, I broke my finger in warm-up. And I missed that test. And I made myself available for the next test. But I had to needle my finger every training session to get through and needle it for the game. And I remember going out there. I got a local doctor to come in and needle it, and they block your finger. And it was all good. For the 5 days leading, preparation was fine, needled it, everything's great.
So you couldn't do any more damage to it?
I did a lot of damage, but that didn't matter. I could fix it. I had time off, and I think I had 4 months off when they reconstructed it at the end of that Ashes. So I had the 5 days leading, every training session, needle, got through everything. You couldn't feel your finger. 3 o'clock in the morning, you'd wake up, when the painkiller would wear off. But come the test match, same thing, needled it, put my glove on, couldn't feel a thing. As I'm walking out, I thought, I can feel this. And I'm going, hang on a minute. The needle hadn't worked.
Ooh.
So I had to keep the first session and everything's just whacking in. Like I felt sick in the stomach. I couldn't get off at drinks to do it either. We didn't have time to set it up. So I had the first 2 hours as balls pounding in, and that finger's got a hinge joint and 9 screws in it. So it was like a violet crumble, but the needle for the first session, but I played the next 2 tests with as well. The needle was fixed at lunch and life goes on. But that first one for the first session, what got me through was adrenaline. And the crowd abusing you and going back at them, and it was game on.
Okay, so with Headingley, what was more painful, that or watching what Ben Stokes did in 2019 as part of the coaching staff?
Ben Stokes, and take my finger off. Take my finger off.
Lee, love the question from the other hemisphere right there. Thank you for the question, and hello to all our English listeners. We don't really mean what we say when we have a giggle about English cricket or get kind of defensive about them beating us, but anyway. Or do we?
I do.
Dallas has got a question. Was it harder to keep in England or the subcontinent? That day at Headingley aside.
Yeah. Dallas, probably England, actually.
Why?
Well, the ball wobbles on the way through. You can set yourself up to catch it, then all of a sudden it drops a foot. And the ball does a lot of its work once it passes the stumps.
Is that the ball or the air or combination?
There's so many theories about what had happened. And my first experience of that was like, whoa, what is going on? The ball, like you'd line up to catch it and the ball would hit you in the shoulder. The subcontinent, I enjoyed because you grew up in the eastern states, especially the SCG, keeping them McGill and things. So that was natural up to the stumps and how close you had to stand. But England was definitely harder with how much movement you got from the ball. But in saying that, by my end of my career, and I don't know the answer to this, the ball didn't wobble as much at the end that it did at the start. I don't know whether it's draining, excuse me.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Climate change? Less lacquer on the dukes?
Maybe.
Interesting. Uzi has got a question. Not different Uzi. Thank you, producer Sam. Maxi to play for Victoria in Shield cricket. So, realistic chance of heading to Sri Lanka. That's his words right there.
100%.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. I think someone like a Glenn Maxwell, especially the way the wickets were over there last time, could be a real bonus.
With bat and ball.
With bat and ball, you mightn't need 450 to win a test match. You might need 250 or 200. But you also might need someone to change the momentum of the game instead of just trying to get through. And Australia have done this really well in the past. They've recognised what a good total is and attack the game different. And someone like Maxi might just be perfect in those situations. If you get a test match over there where the ball's going to go through the top straight away, and you might look at it and say, listen, if we get to 200 or 160, this is going to be game on. And Maxi with his fielding in the ball, but also with the bat, to be a little bit unorthodox over there to win your test series, I think it's a good thing. And you know what? You want guys like Maxi and that playing Shield cricket as well, so other guys get the opportunity to play against them. Imagine having to bowl like a Tanvi Sanger, for example, to a red-hot Glenn Maxwell. Yeah, I love it, and I think it's a great idea that he's playing for Victoria.
You're with Willow Talk, Ask Hads edition. Little drinks break. Back with plenty more questions in a moment. So Hads, a good one here from George. He asks, with Uzi, Steve Smith, Nathan Lyon, and the big 3 quicks nearing the end, what's your test 11 in 2026?
So what's that after the Ashes?
Yeah, I reckon. Yeah, let's put a point on it because a few guys will be aiming for that. And then what next? Even though Nathan has said he's left it open to tour England again, so he might still be going.
I'd imagine Marnus would still be playing.
Yeah.
So you got a 3. You got Carey and Inglis. They'll be around. So you got a keeper. You've got
2 keepers. You've got Green.
Green still playing. Lino's forever young.
I'm not sure.
3 fast bowlers.
One might still be around.
Yeah, let's just assume 1. So we need to find a couple of quicks.
Yeah.
I'd like Jai Richardson to be around the mark. You know how highly I think of him. I just hope he gets a crack injury-wise. Spencer Johnson is an interesting one. I think, I don't know what his appetite is for Test cricket. But I think he's someone that, if they can get right, will be a real asset to the team.
Have you got Nathan still playing?
I've got Nathan still in.
Yep. Won't give it up.
No, I think he'll be going. You don't want to lose all those guys at the same time.
Travis Head?
Yeah, Head will still be there.
Yeah.
So you've got your 3, you've got Head at 4, or Green at 4, Head at 5. You got your keeper at 7. You got Inglis will still be there. You need a couple of openers. Middle order. Sam Constance. I'm going to throw that name up.
You love him.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think there sometimes becomes a player, and you see, you've seen it through generations, and I'm not putting too big a raps, I hope, on someone like you see a Ponting or like guys just come through and they Clark at New South Wales that just look different, and I think this kid's going to be one of them.
Yeah, not putting on too much pressure, but he's going to be a modern day great.
Yeah. So, who else is about? Go through Tassie.
I reckon Travis Head's still playing.
Joel Davies. He's got a big year this year.
Joel or Ollie?
Ollie. Well, Joel can come in too. He's a blue bagger. He's already got a green one there. I think Cooper Connolly, I think he's going to develop over the next couple of years into a really exciting test player.
I got Aaron Hardy in that test in 2026.
The other one I'm really interested in.
This is not Ask Adam, by the way. It's Ask Had, so sorry. Keep going.
It's coming to him. The other one is how Jake Fraser's used.
Yeah. What is he? Is he middle order or is he opener?
Mate, I like him as an opener. I like him as an opener to play that style. So they're the names there and thereabouts. I think will come in the next couple of years.
But it's a difficult one because Australian cricket with the men's team and the women's looks like they're transitioning quite well from the established guard, and that one by one they might go into retirement, but they're not all going to go in a heap. A couple of times it's happened that I can remember is when Chappell Lily Marsh went, early 80s, and then we saw what happened after that in the mid-80s with Australian cricket. And then Warne, Haddin, Langer, McGrath all went in a bunch. And it wasn't a horrible turnover, but there were some bad series losses and there was some, some difficult moments.
Teague Wiley, he's another one from WA bat. I just think it's going to be actually, to answer this question properly, let me have 12 months.
I reckon you need 6 after the Shield season.
Once this season's done, you'll start to know who starts to come out of the pack.
Yeah.
You might have the same 3 quicks. They might still have a couple of years left in. They might give out white form of the game. But yeah, at the end of this cricket season, it'll start to take shape what that 2026 team looks like.
Jamison has got a question. How tall is too tall for an aspiring wicketkeeper?
No height restrictions.
Mitch Stark?
Well, Gilly's a very tall. Like you stand next to Gilly, he's a tall man. He was as good as you'll ever see behind the stumps. But I know traditionally with the short, fat wicket keepers, the last one's picked, but we're a bit more athletic than that. But there's no height restrictions. There's different techniques you can use.
So if you're 6'3", can you still be a wicket keeper?
Yeah, well, Gilly was. Gilly was unbelievable.
Gilly's not 6'3".
Mate, he's close. Gilly would be 6'2". He was tall. Gilly's tall. He's a big human.
Yeah.
And he was as good as anyone. I know you talk about his batting, but he was as good as anyone behind the stump.
Fair enough. There you go, Jamison. Don't let height or an abundance of it stop you from wicket keeping.
Or lack of it.
Or lack thereof it. Brad asks, hardest part-time bowler to face in international or domestic cricket? There you go.
Every one of them. Every part-time bowler was hard to face.
Why?
Because you get head noise. Ollie, I'm coming back to you.
Because you thought you were ready for a fill-up.
Well, every time a part-time bowler come, I changed the back end of my career. I said, no, I just try to slog them. Because what happens is that when start your career, they come on to break a partnership. You think, don't get out, don't get out. Once you get more comfortable in your spot, you just think, I'm going to play you like I'm facing the fitness trainer in the nets. And that's how you got to treat a part-time bowler, because the reason the part-time bowler's on is to give the 3 big quicks or 4 quicks or whatever you have a break. So the quicker you get that part-timer out of the attack, you bring the other quicks back so they'll tie and you'll get more balls to hit. So with me, I'm getting that part-timer out of the attack as quick as I can.
So there was no one that, like...
Andrew McDonald.
Part-time bowler, he was an all-rounder, wasn't he?
Come in and just little wobble him. You had the keeper up to the stumps and you knew he's trying to hit you on the front toe and you had no slips and everyone's in front of your eyes.
Do you know the one I could never understand watching a lot of cricket as a kid? The one that I just could not get my head around about how he tied opposition batters up on a pretty consistent basis was Chris Harris from New Zealand. Remember him?
Yeah, he was quite skillful, actually. He was a bit
But
different.
he bowled at like 95 Ks an hour.
But he was a leg spinner. You had to...
He bowled cutters.
Actually, here's a good point. People try to play him like a medium pace. You had to play him like a leg spinner.
Yeah.
Like use your crease deep and go back. Instead of like pushing too far forward and go like a medium pace. It was like Darren Lehman was a nightmare. Nightmare. You'd look up and Buff would let the ball go. Yeah. And you go to the umpire. The next thing you'd be waiting there. Yeah. At the back end of my career, I got better. I just tried to hit them out of the attack.
Did you enjoy, when you got hold of Darren Lehman, did you enjoy it? Like in terms of...
He enjoyed it more when he got you.
I bet he did.
Oh, mate, he was a nightmare. And he like, they didn't bounce.
Skidders.
About 3 foot tall.
He's quick skidders. Yeah. It's like he's literally throwing a VP stubby throw down the pitch.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
John asks, when choosing a bat, did you care about the amount of grains or how it looked?
Well, this is an interesting question. We need Marnus in here for this. And there were so many theories at different stages in your career. There was, you need 7 evenly placed grains across the bat.
Oh, really?
There was 7 evenly placed grains across your bat, but 2-tone wood. Then there was 2-tone wood, but 20 grains. Then you look at the bottom of your bat to see the grains go through the, like, talk about head noise.
We're back to Ollie again.
Yeah, Ollie, we'll come into you. We'll help you with this. But the one thing, and it's hard to do this when you're a dad because you buy your kid the bat. You always buy the bat that's too heavy because you want it to be right for you don't want to spend all the money. I tell you actually what, I'm going off topic here. I went to grab some creams for my boys. There was a cricket bat the other day, $3,100.
What?
Yep.
Was it attached to the top of a car?
It was.
An MRF?
Yep.
Wow.
3,000.
What was it made of?
I don't know. I was looking for a guaranteed letter that I got 10 hundreds in the season. But, yeah.
Mate, you want a net session with Sachin Tendulkar thrown in as well, wouldn't you?
So that was interesting. But to answer it is, you go through different stages of your career. But I think the best way to look at it is feel. Pick it up. And if you just play with it a little bit, you'll get a feel. Is it bottom heavy or you can swing it? Hold it. There was a theory that you hold it with your top hand out at the end of the grip. And if your hand shakes or you could hold it, that's the weight you need.
Well, one thing that question has given us is a guarantee that we've had a few bats sent in to us here at Willow Talk to give away to listeners and whatnot. I don't think MRF are chiming in with anything anytime soon after Hads, the little drive-by there. Anyway, Michael asks, here we go, who's your favourite enemy? Which Black Caps player did you respect the most?
Well,
he's befuddled here. He doesn't know who to give a compliment to.
Jonah Lomu? I think the ones that I played with were held in high regard and they were world-class performers were Daniel Vettori and Shane Bond. Both of those guys. Bond had an unbelievable record against us.
Was he that good?
Yeah, he was. He was quick. He was different. The way the ball angled, it felt like it was coming in and then just hold. But his record against us was good. And Dan Vettori, he was really cagey.
So if Shane Bond, his body stays together, are we talking 500 Test wickets here?
Oh, you're talking up there with one of the grades. He was very, very skillful, and it was just a shame for international cricket and New Zealand that his body just couldn't handle. Yeah. He was a superstar, but probably Bond and Vettori.
Thank you, Michael, for that question. Noah, his question: would you rather fight 100 chicken-sized Brett Lees or one Brett Lee-sized chicken?
Well, Noah, you need to sleep more because you've obviously got issues sleeping, thinking of things like this.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the one answer where you've got it wrong.
Yeah.
Is Brett Lee's the nicest human in the world?
Yeah.
And no matter if there's 100 chicken-sized Brett Lees or Brett Lee-sized chicken, no way you'd punch Brett Lee.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. And Sam, this last one here. What was the best pair of wicket-keeping gloves you owned?
My first pair of Rod Marsh Golds.
When did you have those?
When I made my first grade debut, at 15 at ANU, they were black with like gold trimming, and they were Rod Marsh Golds. The ones I enjoyed most for playing for Australia was the green with all the yellow face.
Yep.
Ian Healy wore them. I wore them for a while, but they were my two favourite gloves.
Did you have a burial for them when they finally gave way? Like, was it that big a moment for you that you were that attached to them?
I've still got some.
You still got them?
And now and then go to the garage and just put them on.
Bring them in. Bring them in, Hads. Bring in your test gloves. I want to see them. How many games of cricket you get out of a pair of wicket
It was
gloves?
interesting. I remember when you first started, you used to have your gloves for a season. You get them refaced when they wore off. But later in your career, mate, you could change gloves, mate, if you're on the subcontinent, per session.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you used to have to take a while to knock them in. Like you throw the ball and catch with them a lot. Yeah. But now with technology, you can have one catch with them. And I like mine quite stiff.
Yeah.
So you could wear them because you could have a catch on the Thursday, Friday, and play with them on Saturday.
One pair of inners you wore?
One pair of inners, but I had a cap on that finger, a cap there.
So ring finger on left hand,
pointing
index finger
on both hands.
Yep.
Because I broke them, and so I taped both those up.
That's the finger that copped the index finger cops it.
My hands weren't built for keeping. Go home and try to put a poppadom into a pair of gloves. That's what my fingers were like.
Terrific. That's a thought. Like one of those big ones or the mini one? Mini ones.
You just see what happens to it.
Yeah, righto. That was Ask Hads. Enjoyed that. That wasn't too painful, was it, Bradley?
It was all right, but
all right.
The mates you play golf with, they're going to slip into my DMs, and I reckon I'm going to realise a lot of these names.
No, of course not. Of course not. And I'm just glad we got through without you asking me a question.
That's Ollie Davies?
I hope not. I sincerely hope not.
We're going to have to ring him.
I know. Producer Sam, was it? It wasn't.
We're going to ring him when you get off.
No. It wasn't. Producer Sam says it wasn't. He's the one that curates this list.
Can we get him in again?
If we want.
We need to fix this.
Yeah, we'll get. I don't think he has a problem.
I don't think he does either.
No, he's
How
fine.
hard's he hit the ball?
He's fine. Everyone's fine.
You'll play a test match in the next 12 months.
Okay, there's a prediction. An unsolicited one. Brad Haddin, speak soon.
Keep it real.
That was Willow Talk. Catch you, everyone. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.